Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hammer Territory podcast. This is episode 232. I'm your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you on a Sunday. It's mid-July, and I'm joined, as I always am, wisdom as I often am these days, by my friend Scott Coleman. Scott, it's July 13th. The first quote-unquote half of the season is finally over. I will use that verbiage. How are you feeling?
Hello, Brad. I am doing okay. Of course, this was not the first half that anybody really had in mind for the Braves, but there is a lot to get to on the show tonight. Of course, the first round of the MLB Draft is actually ongoing as we speak, so we have that to talk about. It's also trade deadline rumor season, and there's plenty of that with the Braves. And then, of course, 3 games against St. Louis, and then some other news. So it'll be a jam-packed show tonight.
It will be, and mercifully for us, it probably won't be focused entirely on baseball games. We'll have lots of things to talk about that are not the actual games from this weekend. We should at least note as a teaser for later on that the Braves have now lost 8 consecutive Sunday baseball games. You and I have been doing this podcast for a long time. We had our old friend Carlos Clazo on the show last week. He and I have been doing shows for even longer. And it's always been not only, but like somewhat a Sunday show. Sunday's been our most consistent day all the way through. When it used to be once a week, even it was on Sundays. And Scott, they can't win on Sundays, and it's kind of becoming funny now. It's been 2 months.
It has been 2 months, and the last time the Atlanta Braves won on a Sunday was in Boston at Fenway Park. This was 2 days before Spencer Strider was going to make his second debut of the year, and it was 5 days before Ronald Acuna Jr. came up and took the league by storm after the injury. That was a long time ago, and of course, the Braves were actually a game above 500. They were 24-23 the last time this team won on a Sunday. It will be at least 2 months. By the time the Braves play next Sunday, it will be 2 months and 2 days since they last won a game on a Sunday. Just very weird, as fate would have it. Maybe it's time. Maybe Steven and Sean start doing the Sunday shows. You and I take like Tuesdays. Then they would never win on Tuesdays and go undefeated on Sundays. I don't know. It's weird, but before a 4-day break, which I think every single person is probably looking forward to, both players and fans. A frustrating, somehow on very par for the course loss on Sunday.
Yeah, I think my personal record on days we have recorded this season is like Rockies level bad. But I'll figure that out. Once I'm on a board, I will calculate that, but not today on the podcast. Scott, I don't know about you. I think we should probably start with the first round pick because it just happened about an hour ago as we're recording this on Sunday evening. For the record, the Braves have 2 more picks tonight. They will be made by the time you listen to this podcast, but after we record it. So they have 60 and 96. We will cover that in detail later on this week. I pledge to you that on behalf of the 4 of us. With that said, the Braves had the 22nd pick, and I previewed the draft mostly because I was just asking questions to my old pal Carlos, who does this professionally. But the Braves made their first pick tonight. Number 22 overall, they selected shortstop Tate Southisene, a talented 5'11" middle infielder, can play all over the diamond. I saw, I think it was JJ Cooper talking about, basically why teams draft shortstops so often. It's because shortstops are the best athletes and they can kind of play everywhere. They're not always going to be shortstops, but they might be shortstops. It seems to be that this is a pick that was not like a slam dunk, but a guy that people like. Have you cobbled together any reaction? Because I always admit, as I did with Carlos, I don't know anything about these guys, and I refuse to pretend otherwise. I'm not even going to do my cram session right now and be like, hey, this is what this guy. I don't know, man. I am passing along information from other people. How do you feel?
Yeah, we will defer to the experts, and there are really good ones around the draft. But Tate Southisene, I guess the Cliff Notes version, he is currently committed to USC, the University of Southern California. We would sure think the Braves will sign him. However, the slot for the 22nd pick in the draft is $3.9 million. Now, just because, if folks aren't super familiar with the draft, just because a slot is $3.9 million for a pick, it does not mean the Braves have to give him that much. They could give him more. They could give him less. Most people think it'll be slightly under slot, which then allows the Braves to use that money in every round from 2 to 20 to hopefully sign as many talented players as they can. So we'll see. Well, usually it's within a few weeks we start to get figures on that. But Tate Southisene is the younger brother of a player who the Cubs took in the 4th round last year, got a $1 million signing bonus. His other brother currently plays at USC. So it sounds like Southisene has really good bloodlines, is a really, really good athlete, and really does kind of everything well across the board. Maybe doesn't have any super loud tools where you look at him and go, holy cow, this kid could hit 50 homers one day or steal 50 bases one day if it all clicks. But he also doesn't have any glaring weaknesses, which is encouraging for a kid his age and his size, and of course, the ability to play all over the field. So obviously, the Braves are excited. I believe Ronit Shah, the director of scouting for the Braves, spoke very highly. You can go see those quotes about Southisene. But hey, it's a shortstop, and for the first time in forever, they did not take a pitcher in the first round of the draft, which was maybe the biggest surprise of the night.
Yeah, it was since 2019. I talked about it a lot with Carlos the other day. Is like the Braves just keep taking pitchers over and over and over again, and there's nothing like inherently wrong with that. It's just been what they've been doing recently, but they did not do that here. Reading from the Baseball America scouting report, which I think Carlos wrote, I imagine he did. Shortstop is his primary position, but also has played some center field and projects as a potentially good defender at either spot. He's also really far away. This is a prep shortstop. Keep that in mind. This is not the basketball draft or the football draft where he'll be up soon. It'll be a few years for a high school player of any kind. It's generally going to be a few years. Whether they hit, yeah. I mean, and that's, I mean, every once in a while you get a freak guy who comes up at 21 years old, but usually it takes longer than that. He's still 18, so it'll be a while. But that's not what the draft is for. You're taking guys for the future. It's not what the draft is for any sport, but especially not in baseball. You are. Yes, shortstop is a position of need for the Braves. We do know that, but he won't be filling it for a while. So I wouldn't get too carried away with that. But you're just taking the best guy you can get. The underslot thing matters a lot. I can. You were correct earlier in saying they could that players can sign for below, at slot, or above. I feel pretty confident it will not be above. It will be. It will be. At the very worst for the Braves, it'll be at slot. I think it's almost certainly going to be under. I mean, I don't know about you. Every single person that I think is smart with this stuff is projecting that part of the deal here is that maybe he would sign for less than a 3.9 million. So,
and I know it's, again, folks might really be locked into the NFL draft or the NBA draft, which just happened. MLB's draft is so much different. And if you look at a list of a draft from maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, where you have a better idea of what players are good and who isn't going to work out, it is so random and so scattershot. And the odds of hitting on a first round pick, sure, they're a little bit higher, but honestly, not that much greater than hitting on a second, third, fourth. And then there's always a handful of picks in the teens rounds that hit. But it is about as difficult of a draft as there is. It's why teams prefer doing what the Braves tend to do, which is underslot deals. Then you can try to sway maybe a college commit who is a top prospect nationally to sign and forego college. And because you've saved some money up top. So it's the takes were flying. I always laugh at that. I can see maybe if folks have like strong opinions on the NFL draft, because, hey, maybe you've been watching that Georgia running back for 3 years and you feel really strongly one way or the other. But for baseball, I mean, this kid's 18 years old playing high school ball in Nevada. I mean, come on, let's not pretend this is either the greatest pick or the worst pick of all time.
Yeah, you said it right there. I won't go into my full 5-minute rant about this, but you're 100% right. Even in the sports that people think they know more, because they probably do, like football and basketball, you're still wrong a lot. Like I cover the NBA draft like very seriously. I would say I'm not like a full-time person, but I've been doing it pretty seriously for a long time. You're just going to get a lot of stuff wrong. We all know less than we think we do. That's just generally what it is. Yeah. And baseball is even to the 10th degree of that. I laugh. And there are people, and we'll try to have somebody on actually in the near future that knows things and scouts these guys, whether it's a Braves person or a national person or whatever. There are people that I definitely think have really informed opinions on these guys. Not saying otherwise, but random fan does not. We don't. I mean, that's the thing. I like to be upfront with our listeners. Like, we're not watching prep tape, you and I. It's just not happening. So,
yeah, I'm not grinding YouTube scouting reports of shortstops playing high school ball in Nevada. It's just, we'll see. I joked on Twitter, I will let everybody know definitively in about 7 years if this was a good pick or not. You have my word. Like, subscribe, follow the podcast. And in 2032, that episode, I promise you we'll do it if Brad, we haven't lost our minds by then, and weigh in on the 2025 Braves draft class.
Yeah, what's more interesting about that? Whether we'll still be doing the podcast at that point or whether we'll be right about this pick. I like the pick, Scott. I'm in. Sign me up.
Sure.
Big Tate fan. Just that's my guy. Long serving Tate Southisene enthusiast, and we'll see what happens. All right, we have more to get to, including a not so fun story about Austin Riley being injured, as we'll talk about in a second, plus some game stuff, all-star stuff, trade stuff, and more after a word from our partners.
AJ, we're in Vegas right now, and I have not had a lot of time to eat during the day. So
No.
what could we do?
I would love a Huel right now. Vanilla Huel would go down perfectly because when I have to skip meals because I'm too busy doing what you do in Vegas, which is not eat, I need a quick replacement, and Huel is the perfect thing.
I'm a chocolate guy myself. It's got the chocolate milkshake vibes to it. If you miss a meal, Huel can be your answer. If you're looking for a big protein boost, Huel can be your answer. So go check it out. Our friends at Huel are part of today's sponsorship. They've got you covered, spelled Huel. That black edition is a complete meal to feel full, focused, and ready for your day. Little prep, basically no prep. Shake it, open it. Huel has sold over 500 million meals around the world, and now it's your turn to try it. So go to Huel.com/foul and get Huel today with the exclusive offer for the FT fam of 15% off for new customers if you use the code, you know it, FOUL, minimum $75 purchase. Get after it.
All right, Scott, let us get this out of the way. It's not the greatest story in the world. Austin Riley is on the injured list, and that broke after our most recent episode. So I talked to Carlos on Thursday, and then Riley was pulled from the game in the fourth inning on Friday in St. Louis. He said after the game, he felt it when he fielded a bunt in the second inning. It's an abdominal issue, lower abdominal issue. Not really sure how long he'll be out. They've not given any other information that I've seen, unless I missed something here. He's eligible to return from the IL, like not very long after they get back from the break. So maybe it's something minor. That'd be great if it was. In the meantime, it's just another thing because while Riley has not had a good season by his standards at all, he had been starting to come alive, actually. Like for about 2 weeks, he had been looking like Austin Riley. And of course, with this cursed season, as soon as that happens, he goes down. What do you make of this? And we're kind of in the dark, but it's not a great story.
No, it's not. And you took the words out of my mouth that Riley had been better for the last few weeks. And we have seen Austin Riley's heaters can carry him and carry the team for weeks on end. And he's historically been someone who's had really good summer months. So the timing is bad. You just finally get Profar back. They've started doing both Murphy and Baldwin in the lineup, which is a lot of fun. The lineup really, even if it wasn't necessarily turning out 9 runs every night, the lineup just looked better with Acuna in there and Riley and the catchers and Profar. But we'll see. It's kind of odd the Braves haven't put any kind of timeline on it, at least publicly, unless I missed it. And if we did, please let us know. But yeah, not great. Hopefully it's a minor thing. At least it's not like an oblique injury, which can just be devastating for hitters. But yeah, hopefully Austin is doing okay, has the break, which is nice. He won't miss a ton of games if it's not a super long absence, and get him back in there, even if it is somewhat fun to watch Nacho Alvarez see what he can do at third base.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, not surprising that they went the Nacho route because they don't really have an incumbent. Like we've talked about this before with Riley. It's been a while, but it's like he's one of the guys in this organization. There's just no one behind him. Like their backup utility guy, Luke Williams can't hit like at all. Back when it was Nick Allen as the utility guy, we know he can't hit. Now he's playing shortstop where he should be. He's been great defensively there, but they just had nobody else. It had to be Alvarez. He's come back. He was injured for a large part of the first half of the season. He's come back in the last couple of weeks and looked pretty good in Gwinnett. There's a split on him. I'm not super high on Nacho, but he's looked good in Gwinnett. So we'll see how this goes. And he's not a zero. He's still a prospect. He's not a total zero of a guy. Like he was the best position player prospect the Braves had for a while. And that made him a little bit overrated to Braves fans because he just wasn't that level of guy. I think even Carlos mentioned that in passing on Thursday. Like, hey, we never had Nacho that high. Well, like, I don't think anybody did. It's just the Braves system at that point because he was kind of the only one other than Baldwin who kind of came rapidly past him. But Nacho's a real guy. So if nothing else, a chance to see him in the majors again because the first time it did not go well, but he just wasn't ready. So we'll see.
He was not ready a year ago, and we'll see where he's at now. He had some injuries in Gwinnett, which also kind of stunted his 25 so far. But regardless, and maybe there's a little more roster availability in 2.5 weeks after the trade deadline. But I think it probably makes sense to have Nacho with the Braves in the second half of the season, play him at third base while Riley's out, maybe play him some at second base. Because frankly, this team is going to have some very real questions that need to be answered this offseason. And if you can see Nacho for 100, 150, 200 plate appearances in the second half, you might be able to get a little bit of clarity into, could this kid start next year? Could he be a utility piece? Or is he just clearly still not ready and should probably spend another 6 months down in Gwinnett?
Yeah, that's well said. The other like roster move is way less significant than Riley Nacho stuff is that Daysbell got set down to AAA. He can't throw strikes. Breaking news: he can't throw strikes, and they brought up, I believe, Suero was like maybe the best reliever by the numbers in the entirety of AAA this year. I'm not sure if that's real. He's an older guy, but mostly for me, I don't know about you. The headliner for me was Daysbell getting set down. I don't know what you made of that.
You know, Daysbell Hernandez has really good stuff. He does. But in 30 innings this season, Daysbell has walked 24 batters.
Ooh.
And he also issued one more intentional. So 25 total walks in 30 innings is impossible. And it's not like this was a guy who had great command in the minor leagues. Frankly, it's the reason that Daysbell was in the minors for so long. He's like 28 years old, even though he's just now getting a taste of the big leagues. He's always had command problems. It's a thing for him. I know he did get squeezed a little bit on Saturday by the home plate umpire, but this is more than just a one appearance thing, I think, for the Braves. 24 walks in 30 innings is not going to cut it. And frankly, I know some people are really high on Daysbell. I'm rooting for the guy, and I think he could be a really successful major leaguer if he ever figures out his command. But I mean, it is an uphill battle every time he goes out there because it feels like you blink and he's walked the first two hitters and suddenly he's in a big time jam.
That's right. And I think I've been a little bit lower on him because of that. Like even in the minors, people always loved him because he looks great when it looks great. Like he can miss bats. I get that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You got to throw strikes at some point, and he hasn't been able to do that. So a little bit of a refresh, and we'll see. I'm sure he'll be back up. I mean, this might be a developmentally focused second half of the season. Scott,
I was going to say, Daysbell, he may not be in Gwinnett for super long, maybe like 3 weeks. And honestly, 3 weeks almost exactly. And he'll be back in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right. I'm going to challenge us to do a weekend game wrap up in like 10 minutes or less. Are you ready?
This is not usual for us, but when your team is 12 games below 500 at the All-Star break, we have to change the format, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, there are a lot of topics, and the games. Look, the feedback we get all the time, this is anecdotal. I don't think people are living and dying right now in the way they usually do on games. I think people have kind of given up. I get why. I will continue to say it's not a 0.0% chance of making the playoffs, but it's not a very good chance of making the playoffs. So if they had won today, if they had swept today, Scott, would we have done games earlier? Maybe. I would say maybe. But
somebody asked me one night this week how many games the Braves would have to win consecutively before I would change my mind on selling. I think this was Friday night. My answer was 15. They would have to go on a 15-game winning streak.
Stop. No.
Under. That would get them 5 games above 500. If they're not at least a few games above 500 by the break, you cannot justify buying unless you're at least a few games above 5. Okay,
you're out of your mind. Under 15. This will be a rare time when you and I are just completely at odds, this is great podcasting. Usually we agree too much. That's just what we do. The number is far lower than 15. It might be like 8.
No, double digits.
It's fine. That's
bare
fine.
minimum. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we'll never know because they lost today, so we're out the window.
That's right. Yeah.
A rare disagreement from us. Okay. Quickly on the weekend, they won Friday and Saturday. Friday's game was the Sean Murphy experience. 2 home runs for Sean Murphy. It's almost like he's good at baseball. Weird, Scott. Oh yeah, well, you mentioned before they sat Ozuna twice this weekend, which was interesting because I don't know about you, I had the thought of maybe they will play Ozuna until the trade deadline and then stop, or not stop entirely, but play him a lot less. And they've started to do it now, which I find interesting. I wonder if it's like they went to Marcel and Marcel was like, I'm going to block any trade, so go ahead, kind of thing. I don't know. I'm guessing entirely there. But the fact that he sat 2 out of 3 days before the break, I was like, wow, that's interesting.
It was interesting. And also, Marcel actually had a pretty good week.
He looks better recently.
He does look better. 2 homers, a double, hit the ball hard. So maybe the Braves, between a good week on the field and then also sitting him Friday, sitting him Sunday, he now gets 4 full days off with the break. Maybe they're hoping that this is going to be able to kind of give him some juice these next 2 weeks after the All-Star game, just to be able to, I mean, obviously you want to trade Marcel short of going on a 15-game winning streak because you want some kind of prospect return and probably some salary relief too. That doesn't hurt, but especially the prospect thing. But it also is the whole Baldwin playing every single day thing that we have talked about many times on the pod at this point. So yeah, hopefully Marcel, good 2 weeks after the break, you can trade him, maybe send him to a contender, a team, so he has a chance to go get another World Series. But yeah, I mean, it was let's give Sean Murphy his flowers. This weekend was very much the Sean Murphy weekend. Fantastic game Friday, had the biggest swing of the game on Saturday. The dude is good. That is a big win for Hammer territory. We have been Sean Murphy defenders for years at this point. And he's playing great baseball right now. He had a terrific week.
Yeah, at the end of Saturday, I looked it up at Fangraphs after the home run that he hit. I believe he was 5th among catchers in all of Major League Baseball in Fangraphs for 5th, while playing half the time. So basically, on a per game basis, he's probably been 3rd behind Cal Raleigh and Will Smith at catcher in all of baseball this year. He's been that good. Like, I wonder if you polled Braves fans and said who's been more valuable by WAR, Baldwin or Murphy, if they would know the answer. And it was Murphy as of today. So anyway, Murphy's been good for a long time. He was never not going to be good. He got hurt last year. It is what it is. But 3 home runs this weekend. We'll stop victory lapping on that. But he's a good player. We should note, because we've been praising Grant Holmes up and down, and I will still do that. He finally had a bad outing on Friday after 11 consecutive 3 runs or less outings. That's a crazy long streak for a supporting pitcher. He got rocked on Friday. They won anyway, but anything concern you about that performance? For me, it's just like, hey, it's one, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's just one. The Cardinals have a pretty good lineup. They have a balanced lineup with a lot of lefties. I mean, Holmes just didn't have his best stuff, didn't have the slider. The fastball command was a little iffy and getting hard. So hopefully just a blip on the radar. Holmes has been so good. And I mean, sure, if he goes out there in his next start and gets absolutely crushed, maybe we start to panic a bit. But no, I think it was just one of those games and a guy who's been really, really good for about 2 months now.
He was due for one. And hey, the bullpen threw 6 scoreless innings on Friday to make it to the point where they actually could win the game anyway, despite Holmes getting rocked. So that was a fun team win. A couple of guys who had big games.
For all of the, I think, legitimate concerns we had about the whole pitching staff, but the bullpen, especially here, the bullpen's awesome. This is a great bullpen.
It's been good all year. I mean, earlier it was kind of wavy, but even when it was not that good, it was not as bad as people made it out to be. It never was by the numbers at any point.
And especially lately, like the last month or so, I think Sean had the numbers a couple days ago on the show about this bullpen is like top 5 and every stat that you want to look at dating back to maybe June 1st and even in May. And you're right, the first couple of weeks, there were some blowups. They were also cycling guys like Hector Neris in that bullpen, which was just not going to happen. But yeah, credit to the bullpen. Quite honestly, whenever they have gone into the game, I mean, I guess other than Jesse Chavez on Sunday afternoon, and why is Jesse Chavez on this team? We'll never know. But regardless, whatever. It's
you're right.
Hat tip to the bullpen. They have done more than their fair share of the bargain, especially lately.
So before Jesse Chavez came into the game on Sunday, the Braves were 6th in all of baseball in reliever ERA this year. Now they're 7th post Jesse blow up, but they were 6th. So that's really good. That's really, really good for a team that's had its closer blow up for 2 months, basically. No Jimenez all year. Like they've done the job, man. That's not been the problem. It just hasn't been at all. Even though that was honestly on paper, that was the weakest point of the team coming into the season. If you factored in no Jimenez and all the other stuff, and hasn't happened.
Front office deserves some credit for finding Rafael Montero off the scrap heap. I think What are they paying him all year? Like $3 million? That's nothing.
Well, and there was a moment where, I mean, I'll raise my hand. I thought he should have been DFA'd at one point because there was a while there where it was not going well, and they stuck with him over other guys, and that has proven to be the right move. So,
yep. Aniel De Los Santos, again, no one's saying that De Los Santos is prime Mariano Rivera, but totally fine season in the middle innings. We'll see what they do with guys like Pierce Johnson and Aaron Bummer and Iglesias at the trade deadline in a few weeks. But yes, overall bullpen, great job. They are maybe not the only positive on the pitching side this year, but really just across the board, they've done a nice job.
They have. We mentioned Saturday, the Murphy home run was the big swing to win the game. Ronnie homered as well. And a storyline that we have to bring up, Ronnie hit third on Saturday. And that was the first time he has not been in the leadoff spot in a game he has started since 2019. He has been the leadoff hitter the entire time he has played for 6 seasons. Obviously, he missed one of those seasons in full, another one part of the season, but still, he's been the leadoff guy. And when he's come into pinch hit, he's been in other spots. He has quite literally never taken a swing at number 3 in the lineup until Saturday. What'd you make of that?
I actually really liked it. This lineup with Acuna third, Olsen second, Profar leading off was one that we kind of talked about and teased a little bit on the show a few weeks ago, not knowing exactly what Snit had in mind for Profar, but I like it. I know I love Ronald in the leadoff spot just like everybody else, but clearly based on what are we in 90 games in? We have a 90 game sample that this lineup is just not working on a nightly basis. Change it up, let Acuna bat third, get him behind Olsen and Profar. Side note, Jurickson Profar looks really good. And that's not a small thing for a guy who got popped for PEDs and had a lot of questions. But yeah, I'm fine with this lineup. I know some people were excited about it. Some people hated it, but I like it. I mean, why not roll with it for a little while? What do you have to lose?
Yeah, I mean, there is some nerdy data that will tell you that you don't want your best hitter hitting third because it's the most likely chance to have nobody on and 2 outs is when you bat third. I don't think it's that big of a deal, and not even the enthusiast would say it's a huge deal. Like, I think in a vacuum, I would rather have Ronnie hit second, but Matt Olson's really good too. So it's, what are you going to do? It's fine. And no, I have no problem with it. And it just was different, and I was surprised to see it because it just hasn't happened. I mean, anytime something has never happened, it's like, oh, that's a notable change. And batting order stuff, we do a lot less of that than we used to, I gotta say, on the podcast. I don't think it matters that much. I really don't. But it was interesting enough where it was like, oh, this has to be a topic because it was like when Ronnie, especially Ronnie, when like a top 5 player in the world changes his lineup spot, it's like, okay, well, that's new.
So let me ask you this: Friday after the break, is Acuna leading off or is Acuna batting third?
I'll say third.
I kind of think so.
It worked enough. Like they lost today. They scored runs today. Like I think Snit is for better or worse, if it's working ish, let it go kind of manager. He's that kind of guy. He doesn't seem to like make changes while they're winning or while they're scoring. And today's offense was not really a problem. It was Jesse Chavez basically was the only problem today. So yeah, I think they probably will do it. But it wouldn't shock me if he's leading off either. I mean, I just we'll see. But it was more than a 1-day experiment. It happened twice, and we'll see. I'm going to go with third, though. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I would keep doing this for at least a little while and see how it goes.
All right. More to come in a second on the rest of Sunday, and then a segment, actually, on the trade deadline a little bit earlier with some reporting over the weekend that was notable. We'll get into all of that and more after a word from our partners.
Kratz, we talk about HelloFresh a lot, but in the same fam is another option for you if you're looking to go on your little wellness journey or you're very picky in terms of what you're looking for ingredients-wise. You can go Green Chef this summer.
And I can heat and eat because this summer I've got like 3 days where I'm not doing anything. I'm sure those are going to get scheduled with something. Let's give me something super quick that I can heat up. The whole family's eating healthy and they're full.
Menus change weekly, 80-plus dietitian-approved weekly meal options. Green Chef makes it easy to find those meals to fit your lifestyle, so go check it out. FT fam, there is an exclusive offer. Make this summer your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50territory and use code 50territory to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50territory at greenchef.com/50territory.
All right, Scott. A couple more things from the weekend. Old friend Joey Wentz is back. Former top 40 pick of the Braves. It was 9+ years after they took him in the draft. He'd never made it to the majors in Atlanta. He made the majors. He was in Detroit, other places, made the majors and looked really good actually over the weekend. His data before that, more of a mixed bag, but obviously was a live arm, always has been. He's still in the league. It's been a long time. He's been around, kicking around. But what did you make of that? Because he's in the mix. Old friend.
Yeah. Old friend Joey Wentz. I think he was in the Shane Green deal many years ago.
That is correct, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. So Wentz, once upon a time, big time prospect, never really worked out for him. Statistically, just not very good at the majors. Kind of like a 4A pitcher that you see a lot of in baseball. But Wentz looked really good, like legitimately good on Saturday. Had a bunch of strikeouts, a lot of swing and miss. And his pitch data from the performance over 3 innings was encouraging across the board. His stuff graded out pretty well. So the Braves might have found something. And right now they're running 2 out of 5 bullpen games. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to roll Wentz out there. And sure, maybe in a week or two, the fairy dust falls off and he gets clobbered and they move on. But it's pretty clear at this point with the record and the bullpen and really the starting rotation being so injured, that it feels like they're just going to kind of cycle guys in there for a couple innings at a time. And hey, if you pitch well, you keep your job. And if you don't pitch well, you get DFA'd.
Yeah, and I speaking of this cycle, Davis Daniel pitched on Sunday, pitched pretty well. 4 innings, 1 run, did walk 3, but struck out 5. It seems like he's like the next guy up to actually be a starter. Like they opened with Aaron Bummer. We all know Bummer's a reliever and only a reliever. But Nathan Wiles came up and went down. Wentz, like they have a bunch of guys. I mean, we could name all of them. We won't. The only one that anyone knows is Waldrop that they have not gone to yet this season. But they're just, unless they add somebody, and I think we already know how you feel about adding somebody, Scott, in general, buying. To use the word buy is taboo with you right now. So if they don't do that, it's going to be a lot of this. It's going to be a lot of like the cycle every 4th day, every 3rd day. It's going to be, I would like it. Honestly, here's one thing for a post All-Star break. They got to change the rotation because you can't do back-to-back bullpen days. Like they got to stagger. You got to separate these guys. The 3 guys you do have, they can't be in a row anymore with the way this is going. That's a small thing, but it matters to me. You can't do that.
And I'm still a little surprised they really have not added a veteran to
anything.
Eat. Yeah, anything. I mean, Wentz.
Joey Wentz. Joey Wentz is the guy they added. Yeah.
Just someone to eat innings because honestly, I know they've done bullpen games for about a week and a half now, but I would be very surprised if they spend the final 2.5 months of this season running 40% bullpen games. I mean, those guys are going to be dead.
It won't happen. No way.
By August. And if you end up trading, and this is a professional tease and a professional segue, if you end up trading someone like Pierce Johnson, who's really good, or Aaron Bummer, who's versatile out there, then you're even thinner than you are now trying to do bullpen games like this.
I'm going to ruin your segue just for one more thing because I have to make sure I say this. I'm sorry. That's terrible of me to do. But other than Sunday's game being a 7-hour marathon, and it really was a 7-hour marathon, we already piled on Jesse Chavez, which was the reason they lost the game. Why was he pitching? I get it. I get it. To the point we just made, they don't really have a lot of fresh arms right now with the way they had to carry this. But putting Chavez in a game when you're up by 2, I know this season doesn't matter anymore. I get it. But it's 3-1 and your worst pitcher's pitching. I don't understand. But anyway, the real thing I wanted to say, Michael Harris should have walked. He hasn't walked in 2 months. He should have walked today. He got screwed. That's all I want to say.
He got screwed. It was a big situation too for Mike, and he had a really good game today. And he
did.
It should have been a walk. I had the tweet queued up and everything ready to go. I was about to look and see how many at bats it had been since Michael Harris had last walked, and it was low. It was at least somewhat close. The home plate umpire today had a bit of an adventure, but it was ball 4. Should have been bases loaded, and who knows? Maybe the game would have ended differently if the umpire doesn't blow the call.
Yeah, if in a different time when the games mattered more to us than they do right now, that would have been higher in the show. Also, it was very funny is the right word, I think, that in the next inning, Ozuna walks to lead off the inning, and the Cardinals manager gets thrown out of the game with a lead, arguing balls and strikes on a pitch that was like I was like all the pitches to Ozuna were balls. Like it wasn't like he got reverse squeezed. And then the Braves, of course, in typical fashion, had a chance to tie the game, and then they failed to tie the game. Okay, Scott, let us transition and do a new segment actually from our friends at Truist. It's called Money Moves.
Show me the money.
Show me the money! Show me the money!
All right, Scott, it's our Money Moves segment, and it's going to focus on some reporting around the trade deadline that happened in the last few days, and kind of just a kickoff. We'll probably do maybe even a full show on the deadline the next couple of weeks because we're getting there. It's July 13th. The deadline's 18 days away as we're recording this. But Robert Murray, who does a really good job actually, underrated insider, breaks real news, is good. Reported, I believe it was on Thursday because I touched on it briefly on the Carlos show, that the Braves still have not discussed Chris Sale at all in trade talks and will not discuss him. And he also reported they will not consider moving, quote, any other player under control beyond 2025, end quote. Now, we've heard this before. That's been out there a little bit before, but this is fresh reporting, post losing skid, not 2 months ago, not what Alex said, recent reporting. Later on, it's Bob Nightingale, so asterisk supplies. But he said the Braves are making Ozuna and Iglesias, who are expiring contracts, not under control, quote, and a few others available. We don't know who those guys are. But interesting stuff here. I'll ask you this to get this started. Do you believe there is no chance they trade anyone with team control beyond the season?
I think they could. I think they actually will. But I think it's going to be a reliever. I don't think they're trading a position player. That includes Sean Murphy, because it is exceptionally difficult to trade a catcher mid-season. And I don't think they're trading Chris Sale or Schwellenbach. I know a couple people have mentioned Grant Holmes actually as like an under-the-radar trade. If a team wanted to like blow the Braves away, then I would probably be interested. But short of just somebody wanting to overpay for Holmes and not that, Spencer Strider, I don't think he's getting moved. So yeah, I think the only players who technically have multiple years of control are Bummer, who has a guaranteed deal next season, and Pierce Johnson, who has a $7 million player option, which short of injury is a 99%.
It's a club option too.
Club option, excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Club option, 99% chance to be picked up short of injury.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I've even seen, it doesn't matter, but I've seen some inaccuracies out there about like who's under team control or not. Pierce Johnson's under team control. Like if you have a club option, you are under team control. It's the team's choice what to do with you at that point, but you are under team control. Bummer, like as you said, has a guaranteed contract that they restructured, but it's guaranteed, it's locked in. The way I put it on Thursday when I was talking to myself into a microphone was basically like, if this is the way the Braves are thinking, I think it's the wrong way to think. I generally think Alex is good at his job. We've criticized Alex several times. It's not like we're above criticizing Alex. I think the like fire Alex brigade is kind of out of control right now. I think it's kind of silly, but I think that it would be silly or misplaced or however you want to put that to draw really the red line and say we are not trading anyone with control. That seems silly to me given where they are right now and given where they even were last year. I mean, they were a good team last year, but they were not a great team last year. And then, so all that said, doesn't mean they have to trade anybody. They don't have to. But beyond that, we are in lockstep about the relievers. We've defended Aaron Bummer a lot. I think Aaron Bummer's good. I think Aaron Bummer has value. If you can get a real offer for Aaron Bummer, you should probably trade Aaron Bummer because he's a reliever. Pierce Johnson, same thing. Like if you get a real prospect return of any kind for a reliever when you are going nowhere this season, and next year matters, but relievers are volatile. That's like, this is the whole thing. Like you're trading for a reliever to win this. If you're the other team, it might help you that you have team control beyond this year on Bummer or Johnson, but you're really doing it for now. If you're trying to trade for Aaron Bummer, so it should be the reverse if you're the team selling. Like you should be willing to sell relievers for sure.
Yeah.
Like Dylan Lee, Dylan Lee's super cheap. If you want to keep Dylan, if you want to say Dylan Lee's in a different tier, I'm okay with that because Dylan Lee like makes nothing and is really good. Fine. But Johnson and Bummer have real money and they're good relievers, but they should be traded if they have good offers.
Yeah. And yes, absolutely. I agree. The other player who we mentioned a little earlier in the show that I think is a legitimate trade candidate is Rafael Montero. Montero's numbers are really good about 6 weeks now, and I could see the Braves trading him. I think Aaron Bummer, I know he's a little bit of a love him or hate him player with the fan base, but Bummer is a weapon against left-handed hitters. And you're telling me a team like, I don't know, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Phillies, the Cubs, they don't look at some of the left-handed sluggers who are in playoff contention on these really good teams and go, man, it would be good to be able to try to neutralize Shohei and Freddie in a best of 5 or Harper and Schwarber in a best of 5. That's the thing. Pierce Johnson, righties don't hit Pierce at all. Iglesias has been awesome since he was, I guess, technically demoted from his closer role after that disastrous blow up against Arizona. So let me ask you this, Brad. Rapid fire these questions, and then I'll answer after you answer each one. Will the following players be on the Atlanta Braves roster on August 1st?
Uh-oh.
Number 1, Raisel Iglesias, yes or no, he will be on the Braves on August 1st?
No.
I agree. No. Marcell Ozuna, is he on the Braves on August 1st with a reminder that 1, he may not pass a physical, and 2, Ozuna can veto any trade because he has 10-5 rights as a player?
I think he will be on the team for exactly the reasons you just laid out. If he did not have 10-5, I think he would be traded.
I kind of agree with you. I know we'll see. We'll get to that later. Let's continue the exercise. Okay. Aaron Bummer, is he on the Braves on August 1st?
Now you get into territory where it's like, do we believe the reporting? Do we believe what Alex has said? I think Aaron Bummer will be on the team.
We disagree there. I think Bummer is getting traded.
It's close for me too.
I think the Braves can sell Bummer as a shutdown lefty. And look, I'm not looking
again. I think they should trade him, and I think he's really good, and they should still trade him. So that tells you where I think.
And one more note on some of these players. So Bummer signed for $9.5 million next year. That is not an insignificant amount of money. And we have talked about this offseason. It feels like the Braves need to have a come to Jesus moment this offseason to really evaluate and basically take maybe 5 players and say, okay, these players are locked in and everybody else is on the table. And if you can take $9.5 million in savings from a lefty reliever who is good, but not Aaron Bummer is not the difference between a playoffs or a World Series next year, but then use that $9.5 million to go sign Kyle Schwarber, who's like a top 10 hitter in the game right now, that's something I would be in favor of. So I'm going to disagree to continue the exercise. I will say that Bummer does get traded. Okay. Pierce Johnson, is he a member of the Braves on August 1st?
No, he is traded.
Okay. And I'm going to say that, yes, he is. He's still on the team.
We're flipping. That's fine. No, I think we could both be right or wrong. I think that's very much the case. One reason, this is going to sound so stupid, and as I say it out of my mouth, it sounds really dumb. I think that they could act like he's not under team control when they trade him, even though he is. You know what I mean? I can already see the dance that Alex tries to do when they trade Pierce Johnson and say, well, wasn't locked up for next year, didn't have the same guarantee that Aaron Bummer did. I'm kidding, but I'm also not. But no, either one, both, I would make calls and listen to calls on both relievers. I just pulled a stat, by the way. I forgot to say it earlier on Iglesias. He has not allowed an earned run. This is Raisel Iglesias. He's not allowed an earned run since June the 5th. Yeah. He's going to get traded. I mean, by the way, if they don't trade Iglesias, that's the one guy where I will be losing my mind if he's on the team. And again, I think he's good. I think he's good again. I thought he was good the whole time. He blew up. It did happen. He was really bad for 2 months. But I was never like, oh, he's broken forever. He's really good again. They have to trade him. They have to. He's expiring. You have to trade him. At least with Ozuna, there's a realistic scenario where he's just like, nah, man, decline. You know what I mean? He has the ability to say no. Iglesias does not have that ability.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll see, and then we'll wrap up this kind of trade segment here. But it's also one other interesting piece of all this is financially. How much are the Braves willing to eat of these contracts? So, for example, Raisel Iglesias by trade deadline time, I believe, is owed $6 million for the rest of the
Something
year.
like that. Yeah,
Do they eat some of that money to get a better prospect return?
they should.
One legitimate question I have is, say the Braves trade Iglesias and Bummer. Okay, so that's a legitimate financial savings. It's going to be, well, Bummer's only making $3.5 million, but let's say all in that saves them $7 million bucks. In addition to the 9.5 that Bummer is on the books for next year. Can they take that $7 million in savings this year and roll it to the 26 budget?
Well, if they were not a publicly traded company, maybe they'd be able to do that easier. No, I have the same question you do. And I will also make one more point on the financial front, and we'll get into this more later on, I promise. We all know, and Alex has said this, he always keeps money, a little bit of money to spend at the deadline, which they're not going to spend, it seems like. So you would think between that and whatever you trade, like you should be willing to keep all the money. You should be able to you should be willing to if you can trade Marcell Ozuna and pay him all the money and get real prospect capital back, you should be willing to do that because you will not have spent more. You obviously, as we've covered ad nauseum, cut salary from last year to this year. You're already cheaper. You're not spending any more money because you're not buying anymore. Like, yeah, they're going to lose some money at the box office, so to speak, because the attendance will be down the rest of the season. I'm pretty confident. Post All-Star break, school's back in August. People are not going to be going to the games anymore. It won't be empty. It won't be like Pirates empty. Like it's going to be fine, but they're not going to be sold out every night. So there's that trade-off too. But there's always the weirdest. It's a team that's publicly traded. How much does that matter? How much does the payroll go on that? But you're right. In theory, you should be able to at least file a few million away for next year if you're Alex and say, hey, Terry, like I saved you this now. Can I please have this next year to spend?
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the next few weeks, I mean, it's a weird situation for the Braves because for 7 years now, it's been, yes, they're buying. What are they buying? And this year, I think pretty clearly it would not be a shock it would not be a total shock if they went out and traded for a player with multiple years of control because this team is too good to not be competitive in 26 or at least try to be competitive in 26.
Yeah.
But then you're also paying a premium and you're paying for a half a season where you're basically dead. I would guess that Alex would prefer to just do that deal on November 15th than July 30th and have to pay a premium on top of all the craziness that the deadline brings.
We agree. I think he certainly would be open to adding a player like that. If they trade anything of value for a rental, we're going to go nuts on the show. I'm pretty sure. You even more than me will go nuts if they trade for a rental.
Yeah, they're not trading for a rental.
They won't do that, I don't think. But you're right. If they trade for someone with control, totally get that. Pending price, and we'll have to see. There's the whole Sean Murphy discussion we'll have at a later date where like he could be available, but your point's perfect in that he catchers in season, tough. He's really good at the same time. There's the whole Michael Harris discussion. Like, would a team buy on him at his like previous form? If you think he would, maybe you would think about it. But I don't think Alex is willing to get there yet. We'll see. But anyway, there's topics galore. We'll probably do a whole trade show at some point in the next few weeks. But
we will. And just to say it out loud, there was a report that the Tampa Bay Rays and the San Diego Padres are two teams that are interested in Sean Murphy. Of course,
it was Jim Bowden. Just for the record, it was not Ken Rosenthal. It was not our guy Ken Rosenthal that reported this. So,
but it would make sense because, as we have said for years, catcher is a wasteland. The Padres catcher situation is impossibly bad and has been for a few years now. So those are interesting because those teams have high-level shortstop prospects who would be of interest to the Braves. We'll see. Again, I think the Murphy discussion is a very real one to have this offseason, but I would be very surprised if they moved Murphy in the next 3 weeks, not because it isn't necessarily what's best for the team long-term, but because catchers and learning an entirely new pitching staff in the middle of a pennant chase is really hard to do.
Yeah, that feels like an offseason thing, and we'll have to see. But we agree on that, and I think it'll be interesting. In the next 18 days will be really interesting. for different reasons than usual, but they still have stuff to talk about. I did a segment with the Foul Territory guys about this too. Like, there's lots of instability, and we wish it was better instability. We wish they were buying instead of selling, but that is not where the cards have brought us at this point in time. With the All-Star festivities starting in Atlanta this week, we're going to let you know right now that our friends from Foul Territory will be doing the show live Monday and Tuesday from the Truist Community Center right next to the ballpark. And starting this weekend, the Truist Community Corner is kicking it 90s style, snap pics at photo ops, score retro giveaways, and jam to your favorite throwback hits as well. Plus, you can meet your favorite Braves royalty like Chipper Jones, Fred McGriff, Andrew Jones, David Justice, and more, all while supporting local small businesses. They're open at noon each day, Saturday through Tuesday. Come watch the show and say hi to the FT guys. All right, Scott, before we get out of here, a brief look ahead at the week to come. No games until Friday. Weird. There is All-Star stuff in Atlanta. I'm not in Atlanta, despite the fact that I live there. I'm recording this from a hotel in Las Vegas where I'm covering NBA Summer League. You don't live in Atlanta anyway, but there is stuff happening. The draft is happening in Atlanta. There was all kinds of crowd shots at the Battery that I was seeing on TV tonight. Gore was there, guest of the podcast. Carlos has been on TV all night tonight. There's a lot going on. The Derby's Monday. There was one bit of Derby news. Ronald pulled out, and Matt Olson replaced him. So there's still a Brave. There's a rooting interest. I'm assuming Ronnie's just like, hey, I was hurt the other day. Can I be careful? That's my guess. No one said that to my knowledge, but was that the assumption you're making as well?
Yeah, it sounds like they're just being smart with Ronald, and the fact.
Which, by the way,
God bless.
Yeah,
when the Acuna news came out that he was doing the Derby, my first reaction was legitimate excitement and happiness that he felt good enough to be able to do it. And then about 5 seconds later, like honest fear of like, oh my God, what if he hurts that knee, swinging very hard, like 60 times in a for fun competition. It's for the best. Let Ronald relax, enjoy. He'll be going crazy on the sidelines. And the fact the Braves have a very legitimate contender to win the Derby in Matt Olson also kind of alleviated it a little bit. They weren't like, hey, Michael Harris, want to do the home run derby? Like that would have been maybe more of the sting.
Sorry. Can you imagine if they announced that Michael Harris was in the Derby? That would have been the funniest Twitter reaction you've ever seen. By the way, I think Matt Olson at DraftKings is like the 5th favorite or something like that. I kind of like Matt Olson and his chances. Matt's got real power, and he's playing at home. Chop House, like I can see Matt winning it for sure. I don't know if I'd pick him, but he's got a chance.
Yeah, and you want to be a lefty hitter at Truist Park. If you're going to win a home run competition, I know Cal Raleigh has crazy power. Like I think he's the odds-on favorite, but it is much easier to hit a home run to the Chop House than it is hitting one to left field, or left center field is really big. So yeah, I think Matt has a legit chance, and he's a big guy. Was he like 6'4", 240? It's not only a power contest, but an endurance contest. You have to know. I mean, you're swinging a bat really hard, really consecutively, and trying to hit the ball 400 feet every time. I mean, you got to be able to withstand that, and we'll see. We'll be rooting for Matt. Hopefully he can get the win on Monday night.
Yeah, hometown guy in the Derby is going to be fun, and he will have the crowd behind him. We can assume that anyway. Then Tuesday is the game itself. Ronald and Matt Olson are the only two guys playing. Chris Sale did make it as a refresher, but he is unavailable, of course. But Ronnie's starting. That'll be fun. I have nothing else to add. I'll watch, but I mean, analysis from the All-Star game is just like, it's baseball. Let's watch it together and have fun. That's all I got for you.
I hope everybody has fun. I hope the Braves, two Braves who are in it, I hope they do well. And I hope everybody stays healthy. And if you're local or even not local and have a ticket to the festivities and you get Paul Skeens against Tarek Skubal as the starting pitchers, I mean, those dudes are ridiculous. Probably the best two pitchers in the game right now. And it should be a lot of fun.
We like baseball, and baseball will be played. And, it's an exhibition, but it's still cool. Briefly, the Futures game already happened. It happened Saturday. The Braves had two guys in it. J.R. Ritchie and Hayden Harris took part. I always hate how they don't really market the Futures game. It's kind of buried. There's real games happening at the same time. It's just like, why is this not a standalone event? I'll never understand it, but that happened already. So there you go.
Why not put the Futures game on Wednesday? There's like nothing that goes on after the All-Star game itself. It'd be a cool moment. But yeah, playing it on a Saturday in the midst of all the other 15 baseball games that are going on, kind of silly. Just kind of on brand for baseball, I guess. But yeah, J.R. Ritchie looked really good. I think there's maybe a small chance that Ritchie gets a call up in September to see if he can do anything.
I would say there's a chance of that for sure. I mean, anybody that's Double-A or higher right now, anybody in the organization could be pitching in September. I mean, literally anybody.
And then, quite frankly, like someone like Hayden Harris, who is a great story, is probably somebody who should be up in the major leagues anyway right now. Like, bring Hayden Harris up, give Jesse Chavez a big old hug and say, Jesse, thank you for everything. It's time to retire. And let Hayden Harris throw out of the bullpen for 2.5 months.
I think as soon as the deadline is passed, he might be there the rest of the season. Maybe even before that. But like, I feel like maybe you give him the break. He did the futures game. Maybe that's what it's like. Hey, we're going to start you off. He might be in the bullpen on Friday. It wouldn't stun me at all.
Yeah.
Maybe they wait 2 more weeks and say, maybe they trade, for instance, to recycle what we just talked about. Bummer or Johnson gets traded, Rysell gets traded, whatever. And they turn and say, hey, young fella, you're replacing one of these established guys and go get him. So we'll see. And we'll talk plenty between now and then, but the Braves do open the second half of the season, the second half in quotes, by hosting the Yankees. Starting Friday.
I will say the only note I have on that, which is a little bit of a bummer. So Max Fried was maybe going to start for the American League in the All-Star game, of course, at Truist Park, a place he has so many memories. Max has another bad blister. What on earth is wrong with Max Fried's finger? That thing has been a problem for 9 years now. It's crazy. But Max Fried, I think he went on the injured list or is going to go on the injured list with a bad blister. Fried will not pitch, I don't think, in that series in Atlanta, which is a bit of a bummer. I'm sure he would have gotten a rousing ovation either at the All-Star game or in the series itself. But yeah, Aaron Judge, if you can keep Aaron Judge quiet, you have a pretty good chance against New York. I'm sure, unfortunately, there'll be a lot of Yankees fans at Truist Park. So, 1, encourage them to spend all their money, and 2, let's get a couple wins and send the Yankees home sad.
Yeah, Aaron Judge might just be in Atlanta for a week. Maybe he'll go on vacation in between, but he might just be in Buckhead from Wednesday to Friday. So we'll see how that goes. All right, Scott, we've covered enough ground on this Sunday evening episode. We will have shows this week, even though there are no games. We will have multiple podcasts on multiple things. There'll be a draft focus at some point, trade focus at some point, talk about some storylines. We'll get into all that stuff. I promise you, between now and the game's resuming on Friday. So please subscribe to Hammer Territory anywhere you find your podcasts. If you made it this far, we appreciate it in the first place, but just check us out all the time. Tell your friends as well. Scott, folks can follow you on social media at Scott Coleman 55. Is that correct?
That is the one, Brad.
Go Colts.
Oh, I wish I had happy football things to think about, but I don't. Maybe Daniel Jones will shock the world. No, I'm not. I am not that delusional.
Hey, take solace in Carter Bryant at Summer League. Your Arizona basketball guy.
There we go. Yes, college basketball not far away. That's probably going to be a little better. But yes, thank you to everybody for checking out the show. We are going to have. I mean, I think we were talking today behind the scenes about some ideas for shows between now, All-Star Week, trade deadline coming up. So we're going to have some fun stuff on the horizon. And as always, a big thank you to both our longtime listeners as well as new folks who have found the channel. Welcome aboard. We do a lot of shows, and win or lose, we always do a podcast.
We will always be here. Thank you for being here, Scott, on this Sunday, being patient with me as I travel through the desert. Not far from where you actually are right now, but stay tuned, everybody. We appreciate you listening as always. We'll see you at some point during the All-Star break, and we'll sign off now. So thanks for listening as always.